Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
And welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra. We'll wrangle Sam in from a Sanford Spotlight shoot to come in here and join us for the half hour. Bison football, of course, on a bye week. They'll come back a week from Saturday to open up Missouri Valley Conference play with South Dakota, which we'll get to in just a minute. All right, let me get you first on overview of the first three games.
Yeah.
The big talker, at least for me on Hot Mic this week, is I'm not sure how to judge how good NDSU is considering the caliber of opponents they played.
I would totally agree with that. Obviously, it's been really impressive to see what they've done. It's gone as expected as well. We haven't sat here at any point this season and said, well, they didn't stop the run against Citadel. It was a close game against Tennessee State. No, we haven't said that. SEMO didn't throw the ball all over the place. So it's gone as expected. It's been really impressive to watch them and just to see the depth that they've rolled out there with as well in the second half of games. It's not like there's been a massive drop-off in production, both offensively and defensively as well. So two thumbs up for how it's going so far, and that's what you want in those three games.
Anything stood out to you to say, okay, this was good, or this is something they're going to need to certainly address once Valley play begins?
Oh man, if there's anything to address, it's really nitpicky, and we've heard Coach Polisic mention it. Maybe the run game, if that, just getting that up, but that's been really good too. They're scoring touchdowns on the ground. They're getting close to 100 yards per game from guys like Barika. DJ's had a couple of good spurts in there. I don't really think there's a ton to nitpick, but again, they're not playing the top tier of the FCS at the moment right now. What's been really good, Cole Payton's been really good. The wide receivers have been really good. That's been fun to see. The defense has been phenomenal, and we thought that was going to be a strong point of the year, and they've proven that.
I want to go off something you got during the game broadcast on Saturday when you talked with Tom Matukowicz, the SEMO coach, and he said he said the quiet part out loud of what I think was the underlying tone around Bison football outside of Fargo was that we don't think Cole Payton can throw the ball, or we want to prove it to him. And that certainly came back to bite them on Saturday.
I was a little shocked when he was that open about it, because he said it to me at halftime, then he said it again in the postgame. And Cole showed off his arm in the first two games. It's not like it was a huge secret that.
Go back and look at the Raja Nelson touchdown against the Citadel.
It was a great throw. He was moving the ball around once the rain stopped at the Citadel. He was moving around. Tennessee State, it was more of a run-heavy game, but I mean, even then he was throwing the ball around a ton. And the fact that he said that, you're exactly right. He said what a lot of Bison fans were thinking at the beginning of the year. Can he do it? Well, I think you got to put all of that to rest. He said before the season, it just takes one good year to show what you can do, and so far he's on pace for that.
Yeah, that's been really good. Offensive line was another thing we talked about, and I asked Polisic this at his press conference yesterday that he says we want to be pretty close to having the 7 guys for this coming game against South Dakota in a week from now. That's nothing we've talked about in terms of negatively. I think the guys have been in there. It's more of they're developing to a spot where they feel really good. They're going to have to make a decision on right tackle if they're going to go with Josh Mangan or if they think Griffin Empey gives them the best chance on the right side.
Yeah, Griffin Empey is. You've done the story. It's up on inform.com of just about how versatile he's been on this offensive line, and just the story that he has being a walk-on. It's been really impressive. I've seen all over social media this week. He's one of the highest Pro Football Focus rated offensive linemen around that you can find, and. Do you want to lose? Do you want to lose that at right guard and switch him over to right tackle, or do you want to give Josh Magan a little bit more opportunity to see what he can do? I think that's what they're going to have to play around with.
And Dan Larson, offensive coordinator, said Magan had his best game at right tackle on Saturday against SEMO, so that's something to look at
as long as there's improvement trending in the right direction. I think that's a good sign.
Because then the first two off the bench, I believe would be Jack Lewinsky and Nate Schneckloth are the guys that would be 6 and 7 as of now on the offensive line.
Devin Lockerbie, would you throw him
probably
in the conversation
I would
there
say he's
as well?
probably after that, but that's probably the front 7 right now.
But I think to go to the overarching look at the offensive line, it hasn't been like, oh my goodness, they're getting blown up in the backfield all the time. That hasn't been a problem. And
I've been sacked. I
don't think so.
I can't remember if it's been maybe once.
Yeah,
so far
if
this year.
that. I mean, it's
Again,
nothing that's glaring in my mind.
Caliber
either.
of competition has to be thrown out
Yeah,
there, which is definitely going to change when we get to South Dakota here in a couple weeks. We want to spend today some guys that have stood out, some veterans, some young guys, and we're going to revisit our picks to click that we did during our preview show before the year got going. Let's start out with I'll say veteran guys or guys that have played. First up on that, Sam, is Donovan Woolen, because I think he might be, so far the first 3 games, maybe the Bison's most valuable player.
Oh, absolutely. He's been the star of the defense, and I don't think there's any question on that. The video that you're seeing here from the game this past weekend, this was his best game in a Bison uniform, in my opinion. He was stuffing the stat sheet, and he was making big hits. He had the sack here. He had the pass breakup as well. He had a couple of tackles for loss in there. And even in the Tennessee State game, he didn't have a ton of numbers if you're box score watching, but he had that athletic one-handed interception. Just shows what he's all about. There was so much hype about Donovan Woolen coming into the year, and he has lived up to every single ounce of that. He's been really impressive, and I know we've touched on it multiple times. How do you keep a guy like that to stay? Hopefully they got a good plan for him in the future, but he's been really fun to watch.
His speed and wingspan, that's totally what happened on this play, because I'm sure the Tennessee State quarterback thought he can get this ball, and Woolen made sure it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it kind of swooped out of nowhere, just threw out the right hand and hauled it in, and then had the wherewithal to bring it in. And we've talked so much about his size. He's so big. We've seen what he can do with that play in the pass coverage, and now in the SEMO game, we see what he can do rushing the passer.
Right,
so he's done it from both sides now.
That, to me, going into Missouri Valley Conference play, and I think Polasek hinted at this, they were not broken up when Enoch Sibamana decided to enter the portal, knowing they had this guy is likely. It was going to be a battle. Who was going to win that starting job if Enoch decided to stay, and now it's a clear cut there. I'm really interested to see how he plays in conference play.
Well, absolutely, and I think we got to go back to this is a guy that came early. I think that has played a major role in his development to get him to a point where he doesn't seem like a sophomore right now. He seems like a junior or even a senior out on the field. It's been really impressive.
All right, another one standing out on the veterans, Raja Nelson. And just has been exemplary. 4 touchdowns in the first 3 games. He's been Cole Payton's go-to guy so far to start 2025. And you have to remember that how badly he was injured last year and still played 8 games. They measured it for the 4 games he could play during the regular season. And then obviously, Sam, what he did in the postseason, how valuable he was there. Look back at the national championship game on that. But he's been dynamite so far to start this year.
I just look at the type of football player that he is, and you'll see the video of his outstanding catch at the Citadel coming up here in just a second. But just go back to last year, that he was injured, missed most of the time, and then he came back in the biggest games of the year, and then had some of his best performances. And he's carrying that over to this year, making the most out of his final season. He's been really impressive. I think you put him in, and I know this doesn't matter, especially with the Bison offense, you put him on any other team in the country, he's the number one guy. Just so happens that there's an NFL draft pick in the wide receiver room for North Dakota State this year as well. But he's been phenomenal. Even on this touchdown, he's wide open in the back of the end zone. The over-the-shoulder grabs, he's been really fun to watch, and I'm really glad that he's making the most out of this year, because I think he's got a future.
It's the offensive version of Kopp. Like, we forget about Kopp. We can forget all the offseason. We're talking about Bryce Lance and Mekhi Collins and Chris Harris and Jackson Williams. Like, oh yeah, they have this guy back for his 6th season, and he's been every inch of valuable for the Bison offense so far. Now let's look at the younger guys. I'm going to have you start off with a true freshman that, I don't know, maybe we had a pick to click, maybe we should have, Elijah Wayne.
It's been really fun to see what he's doing as a true freshman. Now I'm going to say all this. I'm going to praise him up, but I don't think we should put him on a pedestal yet.
Okay.
He's still got things to learn. At least that's what we've been told from the coaching staff. But he leads the team in TFLs right now. He's got a sack on the stat card.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad. And just the fact that he's a freshman, making the plays. When the opportunity is there, he's capitalizing on it. He's not making the freshman mistakes. And now I know you can say, it's been the Citadel, it's been Tennessee State, and it's been SEMO. Yeah, whatever. But he's not blowing his opportunity, if that makes sense.
He's made a play that makes you just go, oh.
Yeah.
Or Okay. Just now, they're going to have to make a decision.
Yes.
Whether it's a week from now against South Dakota or later, because he's played in 3. And Kolpak told me on Monday he's in the mindset he's going to play the whole way. I don't know if that's been decided yet, but I think he's forcing their hand that, hey, we're going to take the red shirt off and you're going to play.
I would agree, and I would think that defensive tackles position group there has shown more depth than we may have thought they would have at the beginning of the year, and I think he's a part of that. I would err on the side of Kolpak that
he's playing.
Maybe you keep him around. He's been in there. He was playing in what the second quarter.
He was in early.
He was in early, and he was making plays. But granted, if they did want to play their cards and redshirt them, save them for the St. Thomas game at the end of the year, and then you have
another game,
or whatever it may be.
I think he's probably right. I think he's playing.
He's proven that he can do it at this level, and he's just a true freshman. Now, granted, is he the greatest true freshman of all time? Probably not yet, but I mean, he's been really impressive.
Another guy who's been impressive to me is Ray James at the linebacker spot. And linebackers, we talk all about the starters. The backups, frankly, have gotten dinged up. Austin Altepeter hasn't played. Peter Haugo's been dinged up. So Ray James has gotten plenty of reps out there. And if you saw him against the Citadel, you saw him against Tennessee State, he's out there. He's making plays for a guy, again, who has a wingspan that's 6'11".
Right.
He's out there. He's grabbing guys and making plays in the backfield.
I think everybody that we've talked to, whether it's you, Jeff Kolpak, Mike McFeely, Kyle Emanuel, you look at Ray James and we just see him walking around the field and his arms are outstretching past his knees. And every time I look up, I feel like during a game, it's plays like that. He's around the ball. He's wrapping guys up and making the tackle. That's why I thought he was a young player that's been impressive so far, and just like Elijah Wayne, he hasn't squandered an opportunity that's come his way yet, which has been really impressive. He's definitely got the arm span for this position to make a difference. And you mentioned the injuries. I'd throw in Alex Elliott in there as well.
Yeah, you're right. Correct. Yep.
Second line guys for this linebacker unit. Who's going to step up? And Ray James has been one of them.
Yeah, because we were told that Elliott was going to play, and obviously he got dinged up the first week of fall camp and is out for the season. So immediately the linebacker depth took a shot. Altepeter didn't play against SEMO. Haugo got hurt early against Tennessee State. I'm not sure how much he played against SEMO.
I didn't see him much.
Automatically, then James has been elevated up. That's something to keep our eyes on once we get to the opener a week from Saturday. All right, now we're going to go back to our picks to click. We made this at the end of August during our second preview show. Your picks, Antoine Booth and Peter Haugo. I almost say it's incomplete. You can't say you missed on that. Haugo hasn't played.
I agree.
Booth has played a bit. He's played some on special teams, not a ton defensively.
You got to go. Haugo's been injured, so he hasn't seen the field.
Yep.
The secondary, just as an entirety, hasn't seen a ton of action. So it's not like Antoine Booth is getting the ball thrown his way a ton. I think you're right. That is still incomplete.
That's incomplete.
I say we revisit that in a couple of weeks.
Mine were Miles Mitchell and Reese Kessel.
Which were spot on.
Pretty sure the Kessel one we'll get to in a second. Mitchell's got out there a bit. He's played in all 3 games. I think that's another one you're going to expect. He's going to play the whole year as a true freshman.
You see, now that's the on the side where maybe you could throw a red shirt on him because you've got how many guys in there? Four other guys outside of him that could do that.
Yeah.
Cortez LeGrand is proven to be a formidable option
that's
as well.
The 4. If LeGrand, Owen Johnson, DJ Scott, and Barica. I think they're going to play him the whole way.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, yes, I would agree, but I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to throw a shirt on him or not. What I've seen from Miles Mitchell is just improvement from game 1. Citadel, he went 4 carries for 4 yards. Okay, then he has his breakout game, if you will, against Tennessee State, where he scores his first collegiate touchdown, and then he comes out and SEMO didn't get a ton of carries, but had a couple of yards in there as well. I think it's a great sign to see a true freshman running back just continuing to develop, and you can see him grow each game he's out there. So
we got to talk about Kessel.
Yeah,
he's played 3 games. He has 3 catches, and all of them have been impact plays for the Fargo South kid. The catch on Saturday was a huge play on a 3rd down where Cole Payton evaded pressure, goes down the field, and makes a play. Maybe I wasn't going on too big of a limb to say he was going to pick the click, but boy, Sam, he's been an impact guy so far.
Well, so out of those 3 catches, they've all been over 30 yards.
Yes.
Is that right? And I know that was what we were talking about before the season. Who's going to be the deep threat at tight end with Joe Stuffle not around anymore? And I think you found your answer in that catch.
This is amazing.
This one
play.
right here. The throw is great.
Yep.
It's on the money. How he got his feet in, I have no idea. I think the white cleats may have helped him a little bit with the out of bounds there. But it's double covered and he makes that grab. I think you definitely got to say that Reese has been a rising star in this offense.
It's interesting to see how they use him going forward.
Yes.
Now that's on tape. So now there are defenses now to look for number 81 out there as well.
Well, we're talking so much about his receiving ability, but the tight end position is so much more.
Yep.
I haven't done a ton of looking to see what he can do in the block game, but I think it was interesting what offensive coordinator Dan Larson told us in our meetings last week is that you can't replace Joe Stuffle with one guy with his ability to do everything.
Right.
You got to have multiple guys to do that. And yes, I do think we'll see a lot of Reese Kessel, but I also think we'll see a lot of Carson Williams and Finn Diggins as well.
Diggins had a great start to his senior year. We'll break. We come back. We'll get you ready for the games this weekend across the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Couple of interesting ones going on. We'll do that when the Bison Media Zone wraps on WDAY Extra right after this. Back here on the Bison Media Zone, wrapping things up. Looking at the spotlight games we got coming for week 4. Now, full heads up, North Dakota State off this week. South Dakota State off this week in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. So, now I wouldn't say slim pickings, but the games, these are the ones to check out, at least in the Missouri Valley Football Conference this weekend. North Alabama taking on Illinois State. We're going to see the Redbirds, Sam, in a couple weeks when the Bison go to Normal. Illinois State 2-1. North Alabama actually played SEMO the week before they played the Bison, so there's a couple familiar foes in that game in Normal here coming up noon on Saturday.
Yeah, Illinois State's definitely a team that should be on people's radar at the top of the FCS. I think they're making a case. They got one of the best running back rooms in the FCS, and we'll see what they can do against North Alabama, which is not that impressive of a team.
Drake continues its South Dakota tour. They were in Brookings last week. Vermilion on Saturday. USD, I still don't know what to make of them. They had to go to overtime to beat Northern Colorado. Now they got a Drake team in that, frankly, hung with the Jacks for quite a bit of the game on Saturday.
I'm intrigued by this game. I really am. If I'm looking for something to watch at 1 o'clock on a Saturday, this might be the one. I really don't know what to expect out of South Dakota these days. Is LJ Phillips Jr., is he the real deal?
He ran for 305 yards against Northern Colorado.
Can he do that again against Drake? I don't think Drake is the worst football team around.
I'm not sure where they're in the Pioneer League because St. Thomas is clearly there. Drake's going to be good. They'll be near the top of the league. Drake's won it 2 years running in the Pioneer Football
Let's say
League,
Drake has a game against USD. Do we rethink things?
I've already rethinking things on that game coming up in Fargo in a week's time.
Yes,
knowing full well, and Polisic already brought it up, that South Dakota has beaten NDSU each of the last 2 years in the regular season. They're going to be full ready for that.
Yep.
Youngstown State at Towson. The Penguins, who come to Fargo in November, are 2-1 against a Towson team that's 2-1. That's a Valley CAA game. I'm intrigued to see how it goes on Saturday night. Youngstown's
been pretty intriguing.
Bo Brungard is fun to watch. Their quarterback.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing him on the Bison schedule coming up later on this year. I don't know a ton about Towson. I think just on the outside looking in is that they're putting together a decent year. Should be a pretty solid game.
The other one is the battle for the wheel. SIU and SEMO. They always play some great games. We just saw SEMO last week. They get to host now their bitter rival in Southern Wyoming.
I think this could be the game of the docket here. SIU and SEMO. The rivalry game. I remember watching some of the highlights last year, just seeing all the pomp and circumstance around that. It's a pretty cool deal, and I'll be really curious to see what SEMO can do against a team that's it's an evenly balanced matchup there.
The winner of that game has made the playoffs each of the last 6 years. So something to keep your eye on there. Southern won last year in a thriller, so we'll keep our eyes posted on that. That's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. We're back next week at 10:30 to get you ready for the Bison homecoming game with South Dakota. Sam Goetzinger, I'm Dom Izzo. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday here on the Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.